Hello everyone and welcome to another exciting Jurassic Park video. I hope you guys are ready because I have a special treat for you guys today. That special treat is a special guest rejoining me for another exciting discussion today. Now at this point I believe my guest needs no introduction, but for those of you who are new to this channel and his channel, let me tell you a little bit about him. He's a fellow Jurassic Park YouTuber who has made all kinds of Jurassic Park videos. He's a truly dedicated fan, and it's because of this fan that I'm making Jurassic Park videos today. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you my special guest, Mr. Klayton Fioriti. Welcome back, Klayton. It's great to talk to you after all this time.
Yeah, man, it's great to be here. I'm ready to talk about Jurassic Park again. It's been a long time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you and I are both huge fans of these movies. You and I have watched these movies ever since we were little kids. We watched them. And even more into our adulthood now. It's just, you never grow old from these movies.
No, and they've got, well, I mean, I don't really have to explain it. They've got this charm to them that you want to revisit all the time, no matter what. I love them.
It's funny because when you watch it as a kid, you see things a certain way. And then when you get older, maybe you see things a little bit differently. But you still have that general appreciation for the series as a whole.
Yeah, completely. And it's different with each individual movie as well. For the longest time, up until I was in my 20s, I didn't understand the seatbelt thing in the first movie. And finally seeing it, you're like, oh my God, that's like brilliant. But there's all kinds of stuff like that peppered throughout the movies. Just the fact that I was able to experience the original Jurassic Park and The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 when I was a little bit older, when I was a kid, I think it shaped a lot of the way I look at the world and movies in general and the stories I like. So,
cool.
Yeah, I mean, Jurassic Park, something just always got to come back to.
And I think it's really special when you see it as a kid because there's this charm and there's this wonder when you see dinosaurs. And seeing it, what you think are real dinosaurs on screen, it's just an experience that you can't really recreate or describe compared to actually experiencing it.
I agree completely, and I think it's the thing that separates people that are our age to people that probably grew up with maybe the original Star Wars movies or something.
Right.
Who were possibly teenagers when the original Jurassic Park came out. You know, you've got this movie, it just affects you differently when you were that age, the age of wonderment and also appreciation for, like, animals.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Brachiosaurus and the T-Rex, raptors, everything, Triceratops, those were real to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I thought it was real.
It has that kind of an impact that you when you're a kid, it hits you so hard that it's like, boom, you just saw a real dinosaur, now you're obsessed.
And that's something that kind of got me thinking just now. Kids in the Jurassic Park movies, kids who live these great grand adventures of seeing dinosaurs.
Well, we've got a lot to choose from. I mean, from the first movie all the way to the last, there's more than just one kid in these movies. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 kids in total? How many kids are in Jurassic Park?
2 in Jurassic Park, like the main players anyway.
Yeah.
2 in Jurassic Park, 1 in The Lost World, 1 in JP3, 2 in Jurassic World, and 1 in Fallen Kingdom. So, yeah, I think that's 7.
Charlie doesn't count?
No, he doesn't.
All right.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen all kinds of kids in these movies. And it got me thinking back to a conversation that you and I had before. You and I did a collaboration as to who we thought was the greatest villain in the Jurassic Park movies. So I kind of got to thinking, who's the best kid in the Jurassic Park movies? You know, everyone brought something different to the table. So how about it? You want to tackle this subject today?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, it'd actually be pretty cool because a lot of them have different personalities and offer different attributes compared to, some of the older castmates as well.
Agreed, for sure. So that's what we're going to talk about today, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to go through each of the movies chronologically and talk about the main kid players in each movie. So we're not going to waste our time with Kathy Bowman or Charlie or the Dig Site kid. Sorry, guys. We're going to go through each of the main players, talk about what they bring to the table, their strengths and weaknesses, and kind of compare and contrast to who we would think is the greatest kid in the Jurassic Park movies.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's do this. But just before we get into comparing the characters, I think it's important that we answer a question that may help us figure out or set the groundwork as to what we're looking for in the best kid. And that question for you is, why are kids in the Jurassic Park movies in the first place? Are they necessary? Are they not? I'll give my thoughts on that subject afterwards, but let's hear yours first. Why do you think there are kids in the Jurassic Park movies in the first place?
That is a great question, and there's a lot of different ways you could answer it. Now, obviously, if we're looking at Jurassic Park from a business perspective, Jurassic Park is a brand. It is a franchise. Mm-hmm. And just like you and me, when we were kids, why did we love Jurassic Park? Because there were dinosaurs. Kids love dinosaurs. Look at how well Mattel is doing right now with the Jurassic World toy line. So this is the thing. It becomes a necessity when you realize that movies are more than just art. Movies are millions of dollars worth of investment by a company to make a return on that investment so they can make more movies. Now, that's just the business angle, obviously. That's the more cynical way of viewing it. But that is ultimately why kids are usually in Jurassic Park movies and stories. Now, I also think, though, whenever you do a story about dinosaurs, I think it really, unless you want to go full-blown horror, like Friday the 13th style, I mean, you kind of need to ground it in that child sense of, I guess, I don't want to say awe, but more of appreciation for those animals, because that's a lot of things that I don't think you can get away with as an adult if you don't have a kid to anchor it, or at least a kid's sensibility, like a John Hammond sort of personality. So the way I see it, from a business angle, kids are in there to sell the movies. But from a story angle, kids are in there to sell your personal relationship with the animals that are at the crux of what Jurassic Park is, if that makes any sense.
Oh, I see what you mean. That's actually a very good way that you put it there. Because, like you said, from a story perspective, it kind of taps into that, I believe, that sense of appreciation and wonder and the sense of awe and amazement with these amazing creatures that once walked the earth millions of years ago. And I think the kid characters in the movies are sort of that catalyst, sort of like living vicariously through those characters.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. When I was a kid, Tim was me.
Yes.
Like in the original Jurassic Park, that was me as a kid. Down to knowing the paleontologists' names. So it was, they were like rock stars back then.
They're like celebrities. Like, I want to be cool like those kids.
Yeah, so it was definitely a catalyst, like you said, to just tapping into the, I don't want to say primal, but into the the order of things as a kid. You like dinosaurs, you're going to want to relate with another kid that likes dinosaurs in these situations involving them. So, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
For sure. Kids are amazed by dinosaurs because why not? I mean, dinosaurs are amazing things. I'm almost 30 years old and I still think dinosaurs are amazing. So we look back at the kids who have had these experiences with these dinosaurs and taps into that sense of appreciation and wonder. And I think that can kind of set a little bit of groundwork as to what we're looking for in the greatest kid. So kind of who fit that mold, who kind of personified the concept of appreciation of dinosaurs, the awe, the wonder, just being mesmerized by these amazing creatures. So that's something we can at least take into consideration when we form our opinions on the greatest kid. So why don't we get started with the most iconic film of the series, naturally, Jurassic Park. So we have two main kids in this movie. We have Tim and Lex. So let's start with Tim. What do you think about Tim Murphy?
Well, like I said, I mean, Tim, to me, that was me, basically, back in the day. Like, Tim Murphy was the obsessed kid, all about dinosaurs, talked about the meteor, maybe they died out from diseases, all that stuff that he's dogging Grant. Just that was me. And Tim does share that appreciation for dinosaurs, and he looks up to Alan Grant. So, I mean, he's definitely one of the most important kids in the franchise, in my opinion, and he is a catalyst for people like you and people like me back when we were younger to relate. Joseph Mazzello was pretty much us.
Yeah,
for girls at the time, I'm sure they thought the same. Well, maybe not. Maybe they didn't think of Lex if they were really into dinosaurs.
Maybe not. Yeah, because she wasn't really into dinosaurs.
It's very interesting because you do have kind of a different dynamic here. Like if we're looking at them as individuals, Lex, she kept calling them metosauruses and was really afraid of them, while Tim was, he was ready to learn, but he was also
he wasn't afraid to toot his own horn about dinosaur knowledge.
Yeah, because he knew. And when like when you're a kid, you want to tell other people and you want to tell them that what you know is correct. So
that's a Gallimimus. That's a Brachiosaurus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think if we're just looking at it like at this one movie, I definitely think that Tim would be the better kid out of the two. No disrespect to Lex.
Yeah, she does have her defining qualities, which I'll get to shortly. She does have those good qualities about her, but in comparing the two, Tim has that connection with the viewer of just general appreciation of dinosaurs.
Right, yeah.
Lex didn't really have that.
No, but she can hack into a Unix system and like restore power. But I mean, like if we're looking at it like that, I relate more to Tim.
Okay.
Just to me, yeah.
Well, it's funny because like when I was a kid, there's two things going through my mind right now. One is that I was like Tim in the sense of liking dinosaurs a lot and all that stuff. But I also looked up to Alan Grant just like he did. I thought Alan Grant was like this Superman of a person, like going on these adventures, surviving all these dinosaurs and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, Grant was like my hero.
Yep.
He really, I wanted to be a paleontologist so bad after seeing Jurassic Park.
Me too.
I mean, I know that all of us caught that, but yeah, I definitely looked up to Grant, but I related to Tim because I was a kid, but
for sure.
The
second thing going through my mind is it's kind of like a little bit of a humorous thing. You and I briefly talked about this before, but when I was a little kid, like when I first saw this movie, I thought Tim, as much as I appreciated his love of dinosaurs, I thought he was so annoying for the first half of the movie. Oh my god! I was like Grant. I'm like, oh my god, will this kid shut up? He talks so much.
Yeah, well, that's pretty funny because you'd already connected more with Grant because Grant's an adult.
Yeah, Grant's the adult. Grant's like I said, the Superman.
Yeah.
He's like the hero. But I do like watching the movies as an adult, even when I was like a teenager and all that. I did appreciate Tim more as a character. Like, he's just an excited little boy.
That was me. I was the annoying kid that wouldn't shut up about dinosaurs. So, like, I totally get where Tim's coming from. But
for sure. He is definitely a good character, for sure. I like to tease that he's annoying sometimes, but he does have that great connection with the viewer about loving dinosaurs and just showing that enthusiasm that he shows.
Man, that moment Tim walks up to, he parts the grass and you see the Triceratops and he's like, oh, wow.
Like he puts his hand up to his face, like covering his mouth almost like.
Oh, man, I love that. That takes me back to being a little kid.
Yeah.
Love that stuff.
So yeah, I think that pretty much summarizes Tim in a nutshell. So how about we go on to Lex next? What do you think about Lex?
Okay, so here's the thing. Like I said, Lex is not, I don't want to make it seem like she's worthless because she's not. She saves everyone by, rebooting the system and all that stuff. Now, Lex, the reason I'd pick Tim over Lex is because I feel like Tim was a more important piece in the puzzle that was Alan Grant's development in the film.
Okay.
Like obviously he wanted to save both of them, but he had to climb the tree to like get to Tim because for all intents and purposes, we didn't know what was wrong. Like Tim could have been dead, like in that tree. Yeah. And he kind of became a father that Tim never had, especially if you read the book. Which, not to go off topic, but that was a big thing because Tim's father wasn't into dinosaurs, and Grant, you know what I mean. So it's a very interesting perspective, and I realized we were supposed to be talking about Lex.
That's okay. We're kind of comparing the two.
with Lex is important. She really is, because she's a viewpoint that she doesn't know much about dinosaurs, and she is kind of afraid. And there's audience members that were watching Jurassic Park. They didn't know what a gallimimus was. they didn't know what Velociraptor was. So her reaction's similar to them.
And I'm sure that there were some kids in that audience that, even though they were excited by dinosaurs, I'm sure they were just as scared as she was.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think that she's totally relatable on that level, and on a lot of different levels. But that's the key: different.
Yes,
and it's very different from Tim. And to me, Tim encapsulates everything that is a Jurassic Park kid, and Lex is a different version of a kid. That you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a very different viewpoint.
It's kind of like they're two sides of the same coin. Tim is more focused on like the awe and wonder of dinosaurs, and Lex is more focused on like the fear of dinosaurs.
Yeah, you know what really makes sense is Lex is kind of like the average moviegoer, where Tim is like the dinosaur nut.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I'd phrase it.
I mentioned earlier about Lex's good qualities, and one of the things I wanted to mention was that she found her sense of courage as the movie progressed. Because when the movie started going into action with all the dinosaurs escaping, she was a scared mess. You know, she was petrified at the T-Rex.
Yeah.
She was even scared of the Brachiosauruses to a degree. Yep. But once the raptors came into the kitchen and she knew that she had to protect her younger brother, I don't know. I feel that something just kind of kicked in. Her protective instincts as an older sibling just kind of turned on, and she just went into full-on protection mode, and she just found this newfound courage. She wasn't afraid. Like, she outsmarted the Velociraptor by hiding in the cabinet using her reflection.
Lex is smart.
She is.
Lex is smart. So, yeah, when she eventually does overcome that sort of fear of the dinosaurs, she, like we said, she rebooted the system. She's not dumb.
No, she's not.
She saved her brother by tricking a velociraptor of all dinosaurs, the smartest in Jurassic Park.
The smartest ones, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, she definitely has great attributes. They're like we went over.
Yeah, for sure.
Very different though from Tim.
Yeah, two sides of the same coin, right?
Oh yeah.
So now that we've kind of talked about Jurassic Park, why don't we move on to The Lost World? And The Lost World, everyone knows, Kelly is the main kid star in that movie.
I thought we were going to talk about Benjamin.
Oh, sorry, man.
I'm just joking.
So what do you think about Kelly Malcolm as a character?
Kelly Malcolm is a good character. Now, in relation to kids in the Jurassic Park franchise, she doesn't know much about dinosaurs. She doesn't really need to be there in a sense of now I understand why she's there, because originally the original Lost World script, Ian Malcolm was supposed to have an arc.
Right.
There was the whole thing with her wanting Ian and Sarah to get married. Yeah, and there was another part where Roland was going to actually pull Malcolm out of line and tell him that he's tired of his nihilistic behavior. You know, he needs to stop spouting all this sarcastic stuff that's scaring the men. Like The Lost World was kind of a parable for the T-Rexes were after, they wanted to protect their baby.
Right.
Malcolm was never present for Kelly. That's why Kelly stowed away and went to Site B. So in cutting those scenes out, you kind of lose Kelly's worth in the film. Not that she doesn't belong there.
Right.
I mean, it's just that she's not as big as a necessity as Lex and Tim were, in my opinion. And the fact that she's also not a dinosaur fan makes
not really,
it.
No.
I definitely say she's one of the lesser of the important kids in the franchise, if that makes any sense. Great character, like her. Great acting, by the way, for a kid. Had a fun time. I think that Kelly will go down as the first human to kill a dinosaur in the franchise.
10 points for that. I got to give her credit for that, no matter what anybody else says.
I agree. But as far as like one of the best kids in the Jurassic Park franchise, look, I love Vanessa Lee Chester. She's awesome. Just saying, like, Tim has the edge over her right now.
I agree.
And Lex.
That's another one. I just feel that Kelly could have been utilized better as a character, because I feel that for most of the scenes that she was in the movie, I feel a lot of it was more just about family drama, you know? It's like, you know, just kind of all that bickering they did in the beginning of the movie. I did like her enthusiasm of wanting to go with Malcolm. She's like, I can be your research assistant, you know?
This is not like Austin.
Yeah, she showed that enthusiasm, so maybe she could have been like an observer, a researcher on the expedition team. Like, Malcolm would have kept her at close hand, but I could see her taking notes in a book or taking pictures of dinosaurs.
Yeah, I mean, totally, but it'd be dangerous for her.
For sure.
That's the whole thing. I mean, she could be useful, definitely. It's just it's just that factor of her relationship with the animals themselves isn't there like it is with Tim.
Yeah, it's not.
Especially with some of the later characters in the series. But yeah, in my opinion, Kelly is a good character.
I think she is. For what they did with her, you know, like, could it have been better? Sure. But what they did give us wasn't bad.
No, not at all. I mean, apart from what your opinions are on the gymnastics thing, I'm not a fan of it, but like...
I think it's silly, but it's you know, she killed a raptor for crying out loud.
She killed a raptor. Like, I'm putting my daughter in gymnastics.
Yeah.
That's how she's going to defend herself.
Yeah.
From velociraptors.
It's silly, but, you know, it's memorable.
Yeah, it's definitely memorable. But, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, if we're talking about greatest Jurassic Park kids, I think Kelly... in terms of the franchise's importance for each child and our audience connection with them, Kelly would rank somewhere at the bottom.
I agree.
But that's
in terms of that connection.
What we're looking for.
Exactly, yeah, what we're kind of looking for. So that kind of covers The Lost World. So now we're going to go into Jurassic Park 3. Now, Jurassic Park 3 gives us a kid character that I have praised a lot in a lot of my videos, and I would say that he's one of my favorites, and that is Eric Kirby. I can say so much about Eric Kirby in terms of what he's accomplished and how he is as a character, but I want to hear your thoughts on him first. What do you think about Eric Kirby as a general character?
Okay, so Eric Kirby is clearly a step up in terms of dinosaur relations from Kelly, because he's actually interested in dinosaurs to the point to where he has asked Ben Hildebrand to put him on this parasailing thing to go see them on Site B. Or at least, I mean, he may not have asked him, but he wanted to go there. Like, let's get real. But so Eric Kirby to me is kind of like older Tim.
Okay.
He is he's at the age where he's not completely helpless. And he knows these dinosaurs well enough to know how to defend himself and know how to hide and know how to live. Now, obviously, he couldn't have done that for forever. I mean, nobody could. But for the time that he was on the island, and there are a few things, obviously, in the movie that I don't agree with in terms of logic, but it's a Jurassic Park movie. I mean, hell, Tim gets shocked off a fence without being grounded. So Eric Kirby, I think, is, in terms of a Jurassic Park kid, I would put him up there with Tim.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think he's as resourceful as Lex, and I think that his knowledge of dinosaurs and his appreciation of them and of Alan Grant makes him a pretty worthy addition to the franchise.
I agree for sure. The thing about Eric Kirby is, like you said, he's a very intelligent kid, very resourceful. I mean, he had to be, otherwise he would have died on Isla Sorna. He learned to live off the land. He learned to kind of study dinosaurs' behavior to understand what he needed to do to live, where to find food, where to find water and shelter.
Yeah, he was all about survival. I mean, you kind of have to be, and the fact that they didn't dumb him down, I mean, really, I like it for that part. Like, he's giving an honest performance, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not overly done or underdone. It's, okay, so you're going to make me believe that this kid survived on the island? Well, he does know all about these dinosaurs. He's doing everything he can to survive. He's living in this water truck. He's got lights. He's got gas grenades. He's got crunch bars. I mean, okay, you've presented the stuff. I got it. Better than Kelly, and I'd say actually better than Lex.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely put him up there as one of the upper tier characters.
Definitely. As far as Jurassic Park kids go, yeah.
For sure. And there's one thing I remember that you and I briefly talked about Eric Kirby before. I remember you said something along the lines of him kind of being overpowered as a character, if you know what I mean. Would you want to go into that a little bit more?
Well, with the whole thing with Eric Kirby, I mean, granted, this happens to a lot of characters, but the moment that he does throw the gas grenades and he's in his Jumanji get up, I don't, maybe I misspoke when I said overpowered.
That's okay.
I just thought it was a bit of a convenient getaway.
Okay.
Eric Kirby is a good character. Now, I don't for a second believe that if this was the real world, Eric Kirby would have lived that long.
No.
But they gave me, in my opinion, they gave what they needed to, or as much as they could, in order for him to be like a dinosaur kid that's like, okay, I see what he's doing.
Yeah.
And, I talked to you about this before we started recording. I actually rewatched all 5 movies in order, and my opinion on Jurassic Park 3 went up a bit. Not a lot, but a bit.
Enough.
And yeah, enough. Enough for me to say what I'm saying right now. And I think Eric Kirby does deserve to be talked about and thrown in the conversation with Tim. I mean, I don't think Tim could have lasted as long as Eric.
I don't think so either.
I mean, I don't think he could. But, I mean, is that because it wasn't written like that? Yes. But also, I mean, we're comparing these movies. So I definitely think he gets out of situations quite conveniently. But, again, that's every character in some of these Jurassic Park movies. Hell, Grant got out of that, situation pretty easily because of Eric Kirby. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I mean when I'm saying stuff like that. But
yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's just convenient timing. A lot of people have commented this on my videos, plot armor.
Well, yeah, or I just got done watching the Lego Movie 2, and like there's a character that's a parody of Star-Lord and Owen Grady. And he is, what does he say? He says, my CPD, convenient plot device. And like he uses it to like get out of a situation. It's a pretty good joke, but yeah. That's in every movie, man.
Yeah,
whether people want to
in
believe
some
it or
regard,
not.
it's in there everywhere.
Yeah, once you start like studying screenwriting or something, you pick up on so many things. Every movie's kind of the same movie. But yeah, that's my big thing about Eric Kirby is it a little bit of a stretch to believe that he survived in a water truck for 8 weeks on Isla Sorna? Yeah, but you know what? They gave him what they needed to for me to believe it. So
yeah, for sure.
I definitely think he is of the top tier kids. I mean, the connection with dinosaurs alone does wonders for an audience's connection with the character. If you're like we are, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I actually, when I was a kid, I kind of saw Eric Kirby the way you saw Tim in the first movie. Because I just, I saw Eric Kirby as this super cool kid who got to go on these adventures with dinosaurs. A dino nerd who got to live an adventure. That's
really cool. And I mean, I understand that completely, especially since Tim was older than, at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was definitely a step up from Kelly. I really think that his involvement in Jurassic Park 3, if he didn't believe Eric, then I don't think that movie would work on any level. But yeah, I think his connection with dinosaurs and the fact that he is a little bit older, a little bit more resourceful, so that makes that a little bit more believable. I do think that he's definitely a worthy addition of the kids in this franchise. He's not annoying either.
No, he's not.
Not like his parents.
Eric!
And then he tells him to stop at like one point in time. Like, Mom, I've been alone in a water truck for 8 weeks. Shut the hell up.
I can manage the next 2 minutes without you. So I think we pretty much hit the nail right on the head with Eric Kirby. I mean, there's not really much else we can say about him other than, he's a really smart kid, loves dinosaurs, and his portrayal gave audience members something that we could believe that a kid could survive in a world of dinosaurs for 8 weeks, Just a great addition to the series as both a general character and as a kid character. So now I want to go into Jurassic World. So this movie is a huge gap between Jurassic Park 3. We got 14 years of a gap here. So all the people who watched Jurassic Park movies as a kid are now adults by this point. Or at least most of the people, anyway. So we got two kid characters in this movie. We have Zach and Gray. So I want to start off with Zach. Now, I'll start off by saying that I think right away that he's at the bottom of the list in terms of kid characters. Nothing against the actor. It's just, for sure, there was no relatability to this guy whatsoever. For me, anyways. He was the disinterested teenager, always interested in looking at his phone, didn't care anything about dinosaurs at all. He was just the disinterested teenager. And you can't really relate to that when you watch these movies for the sake of dinosaurs.
No, not at all. And yeah, I agree with you completely. I think he's the worst. I struggle to even call him a kid because he's like 16.
Yeah, he's kind of pushing it, actually. But I thought I'd throw him in there for the sake of it.
I get it. Like, he's definitely, in my opinion, the bottom. Like, he's the least relatable Jurassic Park kid. He doesn't care about dinosaurs. He doesn't treat his brother properly, which it's how it was written. Like, I get the like what they're doing. They're trying to bring them together. But to me, like, he's not. I mean, he didn't kill a velociraptor with gymnastics.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, like he's at the bottom in my opinion. So far, just to give a little recount, I'd probably go Tim, Eric. We haven't talked about Zach just yet. Or I'm sorry, Gray. We're talking about Zach now. So I'd go Tim, Eric, both of them very close. Next up, I would do Lex, and then Kelly, and then Zach, all the way at the bottom. And we'll talk about Gray in a little bit, but yeah, Zach, to me, no.
I mean, that's how he was written. He was written as the...
He was written to be unlikable.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole point. So, to me, yeah, Zach is the worst Jurassic Park kid. We haven't even talked about Fallen Kingdom yet. But
no, we'll get there.
Yeah, Zach is the worst, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, not much else to say about him. I mean, great performance by Nick Robinson. Like I said,
he did his
against
job,
him. Yeah, he did his job. He did what the directors told him to do.
Yeah, I mean, he played it well. He was supposed to be the least Jurassic Park kid out of all of them. Good job.
Because here's what's funny. Maybe I should save this for when I talk about Gray. So yeah, I'll save this when I talk about Gray, which is right now. So we'll go on to Gray. Now, to me, this kid character was the most relatable kid to me in any Jurassic Park movie. When I went to go see Jurassic World, when I saw Gray, that was me. That's what I felt. I'm like, wow, this kid is me as a kid.
Yeah, agreed. Completely agreed. I mean, he actually gives a shit about dinosaurs. He is someone that is so interested in, you know, when he ran up the thing, he was like, I don't want to wait anymore. And he opens the thing. Like, Gray is a dinosaur fan.
Absolutely.
In the vein of Tim, I mean, there's things that sparkle through, or I don't want to say sparkle through. There are things that shine through that show that he is possibly on the spectrum.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that afterwards. But yes, I see where you're going with this.
Well, if you know a lot of people that are on the spectrum that like dinosaurs, you know that it's pretty much spot on. Like,
yeah,
Gray is a character that I really like because he reminds me when I was a kid, all about dinosaurs, the same way Tim Murphy did. And man, like, as much as Zach is the antithesis of what a Jurassic Park kid is not, Gray is
what a Jurassic Park kid is.
Yeah, down to like the definition of who he is.
Absolutely. Like, he just fired off dinosaur facts here and there, just random tidbits of information. His brain was always on the go. Like, he's always thinking, always ready for something. And just so much excitement from this kid. It just reminds me of when I first saw dinosaurs, how excited I was. It was just like reliving that all over again with Gray in Jurassic World. Like, when he gets off the boat and he steps into the lobby of the escalators, he like runs ahead of Zara and Zach. He's just
telling them to come on.
Yeah, he's just like he's standing there, jaw dropped, just looking around. It's just, I can relate to that so much.
I can remember the first time I saw Jurassic World in the theater when he opened those doors and said, I don't want to wait anymore, and you got to see the park. Like, that made me feel like a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
That to me took me back. I was like,
Yep.
damn, I think Jurassic Park is like officially back.
Yeah.
That was the moment for me where I was like, okay.
Bring a tear to the eye.
It made me very happy. It made me smile. So yeah, as much as I would put Zach at the bottom, I'd put Gray right up there at the top with Tim and Eric. In fact, oh man, I don't know if like maybe Gray's. It's hard for me to rank them like that, but
it is hard because in a way, like Tim and Gray are very similar, but at the same time, they're also very different.
Yeah, very different. But they're around. Maybe Gray was a little bit older, or maybe it was the other way around. It's hard for me to tell when they're that young.
I don't know. How old was Gray? Like 9, maybe?
Yeah, maybe around 9. How old was Tim, though?
I thought
Tim
he was around
10.
9 or 10, yeah.
So, yeah, they're around the same age. I mean, to me, they're both great, man. It's so difficult for me to pick. I mean, I can't just say Tim because of how old I am and because I grew up with Jurassic Park. Because, like, that wouldn't be giving Gray his proper due. Gray is a great character, especially with what we're looking for in terms of relationship with dinosaurs and stuff. Like,
just that scene where they go into the Gyrosphere Valley and they finally see the dinosaurs, and it shows that shot of Gray looking out the Gyrosphere, and he's just smiling, and as the music plays, and it's just like, there's that wonder, there's that awe of dinosaurs, that appreciation.
Gray's also really funny, too, when he's talking about how they're going to have their heads shaved and make root beer in the toilet.
And then he's like jerking around with Zach. It's like, what do you think's going to happen with you just staring at them?
Yeah. So, I mean, I like these characters a lot. Like, those three, Eric, Tim, and Gray, are the three that we've gone over so far that are the most... They're the ones I think of when I think of Jurassic Park kids.
For sure. I mean, I related to Tim as a kid, but I can't describe it that much. Like, there's this feeling I get when I watch Gray. And don't take this the wrong way. It's just, there's something about Gray that connects me with him as a character. Remember what he said in Iron Man 3? We're connected.
Oh, yeah.
The same Ty Simpkins.
Yeah. Yeah, that kid's a great actor, by the way. He's going to have a great... Maybe they'll bring him back in the next one.
I'd love to see him again.
I would too, man. He's done a great job. They don't got to bring back Zach. If they do, make him get eaten. But I really like Gray. That like Zach. Look, man. Like you did your job.
Yeah, you came through as the big brother.
Your brother, though, your younger brother, man. He's
one of the guys.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy. But yeah, I agree with you pretty much completely on this.
I know you mentioned this earlier about Gray possibly being on the spectrum, and I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about that. When I saw Gray in Jurassic World, I just knew right away that he was different somehow. And I don't mean that in a bad way, of course. I'm just saying that he was different, that there was a certain peculiarity about him, because there were a lot of mannerisms and, I guess you can say, quirks that I just related to so much. Like, there were a lot of things that he did in the movie that I remember doing as a kid, and even as an adult. Now, this may be a bit off topic, but it does relate somewhat. But I feel as though, like, I may be on the spectrum myself. I don't know for sure. I'm no professional. I'm no psychologist. I'm not going to, bore you with my medical profile or anything like that. But there's just, like, I was reading about it, and there was a lot of things that I saw. It's like, hey, you know what? That sounds a lot like me. Or, yeah, I remember that. But like I said, I'm no psychologist. I know there's a lot more to a diagnosis than just meeting criteria on a checklist. I'm just saying that based on my research, it's possible that I'm on the spectrum, that's all. And the reason why I'm talking about all this is because I just really want to emphasize and hammer in just how much I relate to Gray as a character.
Yeah, I went through the same thing. It's similar it hits people that love dinosaurs a lot. That's why, because it's the kind of the wonder of it all, and also the wanting to learn. So I know that Coffee with the Cynic is on the spectrum, if you know who that is.
What's that, sorry?
Coffee with the Cynic on YouTube. He's a massive Jurassic Park fan.
Okay.
He's on the spectrum, and he's pretty similar. Like, I wouldn't know it unless he told me. But like, dinosaurs connect people
Yes.
that are of that sort of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess wavelength.
Yeah, that's
You know,
that's fair.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, that's same. Yeah,
that the same frequency taps a chord with people of high intelligence that I think really struck with a lot of people. I mean, hell, Gray. That's one of the reasons I really like Gray too. Is like when they showed him off. I mean, unless they didn't outright say that he was on the spectrum,
right.
and I think that was the best way to do it because
Kind of let the viewer decide.
yeah,
to a point.
and also it kind of shows you the reality of it because people don't go around like shaking hands like, "Hey, I'm on the spectrum."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's
no,
people
nobody
don't go around asking people, "Hey, are you on the spectrum? Are you on the spectrum?" No.
You seem incredibly intelligent right now. Like, you wouldn't like you don't do that. But,
Yeah, I don't do that.
but yeah, that's one of the reasons I really liked him. And I mean, I know that for a lot of people who like Jurassic Park movies, especially, I get comments all the time of people that are they're like they relate to Gray so much. I had someone find my phone number and call me.
Oh God.
It was look, we had a good conversation.
Sure.
It was interesting, man. It was pretty cool how much Gray has made an impact on Jurassic Park fans, especially people like that. Like they connect with it, which is awesome.
Yeah,
because it's
good to
great
have
get,
that relatability, like on that level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I think that was very fitting for when they brought the movie back. Because, like, Jurassic Park 3, there was Eric Kirby. He was relatable to a degree. But compared to Gray, it's, like, way up there.
Yeah, this is the thing. Gray, oh, man, like...
I don't want to say he's, like, the next Tim, but... It's a lot of people sometimes think that Jurassic World is a sequel to Jurassic Park and that they should ignore The Lost World and JP3. So like they maybe there's some similarities, like, okay, Jurassic Park has Tim Murphy, the very smart, enthusiastic dinosaur nerd. We get Gray, who again, enthusiastic dinosaur nerd.
Yeah, but they're different characters ultimately. Yeah. Like Tim wasn't crying on a monorail about his parents' divorce, even though they were going through the same thing. He didn't have an older brother that wasn't looking after him. You've got different things in these movies that kind of, I understand it's easy to say, oh, look, there's two kids that like dinosaurs, you know, like it's a little more to it.
There is more to it than that, for sure.
I mean, yeah, there's way more to it than that, but I definitely understand, especially with what we've been discussing, which is what is a great Jurassic Park kid, or who is the best Jurassic Park kid. I definitely think Tim and Gray should be in that conversation.
For sure. I think they fit the bill to a T.
Yeah.
To a T. So now that I've kind of talked about Jurassic World, we're going to go on to the newest film of the series, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And this movie gave us Maisie. Now, Maisie is unlike any of the other kid characters, or any character that we've ever seen in the movies, because, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Fallen Kingdom, don't watch this video. I know it's a late spoiler warning, but don't watch this video if you haven't seen Fallen Kingdom. You got 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Maisie is a clone. That's never been seen in any of the Jurassic Park movies in terms of human characters.
Right.
So she's very unique.
Very unique. And similar to Tim, Eric, and Gray, she's also a massive dinosaur fan. To a degree that I feel like we haven't seen before, because her her father, it gets a little confusing.
Yeah.
What was her original version's father is Benjamin Lockwood, who is John Hammond's business partner, who shows her and has obviously taught her all about dinosaurs. You know, she's going around the mansion,
having these little games, you know, like,
yeah,
I
playing
went all
with
the
her.
way to the Cretaceous.
Yeah, from the Jurassic to the Cretaceous in one day. Casualties, of course. Iris nearly jumped out of her skin. But she is definitely, also interestingly, the first girl that's a dinosaur nut in the series, because Lex and Kelly were not
Lex
like
wasn't that person. Neither was Kelly.
No, not at all. And like you said, she is a human clone. She does share a relationship to these animals more so than anyone else. I mean, she was bred.
She set them free, basically, because she felt that she had that connection to them.
Yeah, so I mean, you've basically got a character, in my opinion, that has a deeper relationship to the animals than any of the other characters. And interestingly, Maisie is the only character that they didn't write in some sort of way to make go to the island, which
Yeah.
these new movies seem to be really savvy on. Like, they listen to criticism like really well. In my opinion, a little too much.
Okay.
I don't think that they needed to listen to all those people telling them that they shouldn't kill good people off.
Right.
Now, I like the fact that they didn't make her go to the island because, you know, you had to like sneak Kelly into Site B.
Yeah,
You had
like
to,
why would Maisie go?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And they had to like drop off Eric in a parachute. Like, you'd like, okay, the kid doesn't have to go to the island, which is the whole thing of bringing the dinosaurs to us in the real world and on mainland. So she loves dinosaurs. She has a special connection to the dinosaurs more so than any other character. And she is the first girl that we actually see really interested in dinosaurs at a young age. So Maisie's got a lot of different things going for her.
Would you say she's the youngest kid character? I think she's younger than Tim.
Is she younger than Tim? Is she 9 or 10?
She's got to be, if not around the same age. Like, not she's. I don't think she's older than Tim.
No, she's not older than Tim.
No,
She's not older than Tim, but she might be the youngest character.
she might be.
She might be. I mean, we're not counting Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Maisie's probably the youngest character. What I'm trying to really see the differences between what she does and what some of the other characters do, because she doesn't have to like really survive on her own like Eric Kirby does.
No, but she did show some intuition and resourcefulness, like when she snuck into the laboratory.
Well, yeah. Well, remember, like early on, they treated it like she knows every nook and cranny of the mansion when she scares Iris by putting the monkey on the Concavenator statue. So, like, she's able to get around really easy because, well, I mean, she fucking lives there. But I mean, interestingly, Maisie is kind of a different character to the rest because that's another thing. Because she's not on an island, I feel like she wasn't like Eric in terms of resourcefulness and anything, but she was in her own element, so to speak, because it was her house. Like, she knew everything. She could walk across the balcony. She could go through the dumbwaiter. She could climb around the dinosaur exhibits. It was her home. So I felt like it's very different to where Lex and Tim are crawling through the kitchen, and they don't, you know what I mean? Like, they don't really know the layout.
No, they don't. She does.
Yeah,
Does.
she does, which is different to the other ones. But in terms of ranking them and putting them up against each other, Tim, Gray, Eric, and Maisie are at the top. Now, it is very difficult for me to choose one out of those four.
Well, that's a good way of putting it there. Now we come to the very end. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Who is the greatest kid in the Jurassic Park movies? So based on what we've talked about, based on all the comparisons, the contrasting, all the positives and negatives of all the kid characters that we've talked about, who would you say is the best kid in the Jurassic Park movies?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first. You're my guest.
Oh, my God. Oh, this is tricky. Because, I mean, on one hand, you've got Gray, you've got Tim, you've got Eric, you've got Maisie. And on the other hand, you've got Lex, Kelly, and Zach. Definitely none of them. But, I mean, geez, out of these four, it's so difficult for me to pick because they're all good for different reasons. If I go with Tim, I know that immediately, what is that? It's just because I'm nostalgic for the first movie, or is it because Tim is literally the best kid in the whole franchise? Is he, though? Like, is he better than Eric Kirby? Would he survive on Site B? I mean, I don't think so. Would he survive the Indoraptor? I don't know. I really don't know. Now, I really think when you get to the kids in Jurassic Park that really care about the dinosaurs and have a relation to other kids, it might come down to a personal level. And even though I was a kid and I idolized Tim Murphy as a child, I can't deny the fact that Gray is a really good addition to this franchise that needs to be talked about. They got a whole bunch of new kids into this series, and that possibly knew more than Tim when it came to dinosaurs. Now, Eric is important too, but I think that Eric, due to the fact that he is a bit older, and the fact that he wasn't really in some of the other situations the characters were in, apart from surviving, which we didn't see, but I mean, he obviously did the most serious stuff, but we didn't see a lot of it. I'd probably have to say that he's not the number one. Eric Kirby's a great character, but for me personally, I'd probably knock him down. So now I've got Zach, Tim, not Zach. Now I've got Gray, Tim, and Maisie. Maisie's got this relationship with the dinosaurs like nobody else does. Oh man, dude, this is a tough question. It's really tough, but I'm gonna go ahead and say, if someone told me to pick who was the best kid in the whole franchise, some people were gonna hate this answer, but I think I gotta go Maisie.
Okay.
By a hair.
I'm actually surprised you said Maisie.
By a hair, because if I say Tim,
if you feel Tim is the best kid, I mean, hey, that's your opinion, you know?
I don't know if it's just my opinion because of my age, though. Because if you look at what Tim did compared to what Maisie did, it's not much. In terms of actual effectiveness towards the plot of the movie. I mean, Tim helps Grant's character arc, and just because I grew up with Tim doesn't make Tim the best, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
So, and Gray, you're awesome too. But this is very difficult because, in my opinion, even Eric Kirby, even though I excised him, they're all really close in terms of what we're looking for. But Maisie, I feel like I have to say Maisie. Well, if I don't say Maisie, and if I just say Tim, I'd feel dishonest and to be kind of blind. And Tim is great. Gray is great. I'm going to say Maisie.
Because of that connection she has with the dinosaurs?
Connection she has with the dinosaurs, and the fact that she was actually able to maneuver her way around the building. She didn't go to the island, so there wasn't a convoluted way of getting her there, even though the way Tim got there wasn't convoluted, but she was a wholly different character. There was no divorce plot. There was it's just different. So her effectiveness in the plot of the movie, and the fact that she loves dinosaurs and knew about the dinosaurs in her house and actually fought to make sure that they weren't sold off, and told her grandfather, quote, air quotes, grandfather, whatever, I feel like the answer that I honestly believe to be correct would be Maisie. Now, if I'm just going by my personal individual experiences with the original Jurassic Park, then I'd say Tim.
Okay.
But you know what? It's complicated.
That's okay. So probably Maisie on top, Tim by a hair, you said?
It's really close, man. Yeah, probably by a hair. And like I said, obviously our personal experiences factor in. I have to acknowledge the fact that my age, of course, Tim is the first one that's going to come to my mind. So, yeah. That's my final convoluted verdict.
Okay. Hey, that's great, though. So now it comes to my personal choice. Who do I think is the best kid in the Jurassic Park movies? Now, the funny thing is, I thought I made up my mind when I decided to make this video way back when as to who I thought the greatest kid character was. But the more I look into it, the more I think about it, the more I think about what we talked about. It kind of
don't let me influence you.
No, that's okay. No, I'm not saying that. It's just I was doing a bit of research and just thinking more before we even did this conversation. I just sat down and did a lot of thinking, just trying not to, like you said, trying not to look through nostalgia glasses to try to use that basis for my choice. But the basis that I use for my choice is that relatability to the dinosaurs, that feeling of excitement and wonder. And to me, I would say that the greatest kid in the Jurassic Park movies is Gray.
Now, that's a good choice. I understand completely.
I just felt he was so relatable. When I watched him on screen, that was me. When he was making those faces, shouting off those facts, that was me. I just felt that relatability and that connection to a character, and I just feel that he fits the bill as to why the kids are in the Jurassic Park movies in the first place, and that's to show the wonder and awe of dinosaurs, of these amazing creatures, and I just think Gray did that the best.
I agree with you a lot, and I mean, in terms of relatability, I might have to change my answer to Tim, but like, I get what you're saying. Gray is, for all intents and purposes, a kid that loves dinosaurs, and at the end of the day, Jurassic Park. What more could you ask for? Yeah, man, I agree with you. I mean, I thought for sure you would have gone with Eric Kirby.
You know what? That was one of my, I can understand why you might think that, because I praised that kid a hell of a lot on my channel.
I saw you dressed up as Eric Kirby.
You saw that?
Yeah, I saw you dressed up as Eric Kirby in this picture. Like, you had the jungle, leaves and everything. You had the goggles.
You actually saw that. Oh my
I
God.
knew that you were all about Eric Kirby, man. But, I mean, yeah. I mean, to be honest, to be fair, I feel like any one of those four would be an excellent choice. Hell, I mean, Lex is a great choice. Kelly's fine. Don't say Zach. You're wrong. That's the only one where I'm like, nah, this ain't it. But yeah, I totally get your reasoning for picking Gray. Even though I thought you had Eric.
I would probably put him as the second.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
He'd probably be one of my, like I said, one of my favorites. And I do think Gray's one of my favorites too. It's just that, like you said with Tim and Maisie, it's just that battle, that by a hair, the very close cut.
Right, yeah, and it's so difficult for some of these characters, especially a Jurassic Park kid. There's a lot of things you got to take into consideration. Kelly, Lex, they're good too. Don't get it twisted. Kelly is a velociraptor murderer. What other kid can you say that?
Nobody.
Nobody. So I mean, that's kind of. I had a lot of fun talking about this, by the way. I had no idea that we'd go in depth with the kid levels in Jurassic Park. This is really cool. We should have, who we should have brought up that we didn't? We should have brought up Arby from the novel.
From the book?
Yeah, from the book. But we didn't. He's not one of the best. But I just thought it would be interesting because he's afraid of dinosaurs.
But he was really smart, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was great with computers. Remember where he's?
I haven't read The Lost World in a long time though, so I kind of I don't want to say I forgot it. I know the basic gist of the story. It's been a while since I last read it.
It's because you watched the movie like I did, and that's what made the bigger impact. I've been thumbing through it recently. Lost World's it's fun. It's so different though from everything. But yeah, man, this is really a fun conversation, actually.
For sure. You're one of the guys that I love talking about Jurassic Park with. It could be about anything. Greatest villain, favorite part of the movie, best kid character. It doesn't matter.
Dinosaurs in general. It's just, I agree. You're one of the best people I can talk about this stuff to, because I think we both understand that we both know the series, right?
Yeah. We invest a lot of time of our lives into this series.
Yeah, we know what this is, but that's why this is always fun to actually talk to someone on the same wavelength, so to speak. All right, there we go. Let's talk about what is the true best Jurassic Park kid character.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So, Klayton, I want to thank you for being here again today. I had a lot of fun talking to you about this, and like I said, I love talking about Jurassic Park with you, and I'd love to talk about it again sometime with you.
Dude, I'm always down. These conversations are awesome to me. It's so good to talk to somebody that I know for a fact knows what they're talking about.
Aww.
So anytime, seriously, I love this stuff. Yeah.
So there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I recommend you check out Klayton's channel. He's got a lot of great stuff on there, and I recommend that you subscribe to him. And I'd really love it if you could subscribe to me too. So thank you guys again for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy, guys.